So, let's talk about season 4 of The Boys. Now, admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of this show. I've actually been hate watching the series these last 4 seasons. I remember people kept on telling me when the first season came out that this show is very shocking and the storytelling is top notch, and they actually do a pretty good job with the political and social commentary, so much so that it's not over the top. And they were right. The first 3 seasons of The Boys were pretty shocking, to say the least. Every episode, I felt like something crazy was happening, and the stories, for the most part, was done pretty well. But the one thing that kept holding me back from fully embracing the show were the characters. My God, are they terrible? And I know what you're gonna say. That's the point, Anthony. They're supposed to be terrible. And I totally get that, but, forgive me for wanting to watch a show where I actually want to enjoy what I'm watching and not be reminded that people in real life suck. Because I already have to deal with them in real life. I don't want to sit there and relax and watch my reality being told to me in a fantastical way. Now, granted, there are some characters in this show that I actually enjoy, and ironically, it is some of the characters that they recently introduced into the series, that being Sister Sage and Victoria Newman. I see these characters having a lot of potential and possibility growing into something better. Okay. Well, show's screwed. Season 3 was the peak for me with The Boys, and I felt like everything from the last 2 seasons were building up to this final confrontation between Butcher and Homelander. And we got that, and it was pretty glorious. It really felt like whatever happened after this battle would change the series forever. But then the battle ended, and nothing changed, and it kind of felt like a soft reboot for the series. And that brings us into season 4 of The Boys, where we're currently at, and I feel like things are just off the rails. There's no direction, the characters are going off and doing their own thing, and the stories don't really mesh together. And that is one of my biggest issues with season 4, is just so many stories that we have with Frenchie and a random dude, and then he eventually tells the dude that he killed his parents, and then he goes to jail, and then you have the whole will they won't they thing that we've been seeing for the last 3 seasons with Yumiko and Frenchie. But then they finally end up together, and you just have a sigh of relief because you're like, damn, well, that's over finally. And then we had side stories with A-Train and Ashley and Homelander and a whole bunch of different characters. And while some of the stories hit, like Homelander and Butcher, I feel like have some substance to them, which we'll talk about later, the rest of the storylines that we have going on here just make this season feel like it's just convoluted and that there is no direction. And coincidentally enough, they actually made a character to represent that confusion and that frustration of us, kind of like the audience wanting there to be a direction, where we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan play some kind of like a devil, if you will, inside of Butcher's mind, saying that, dude, you gotta go back to yourself from season 1. You know, the murderous self, the one that everybody liked, go back to that. And jumping back to one of the biggest problems I have with the series, with the characters being terrible, I mean, do we really need more of the Deep? The guy is unredeemable. We don't need to see him anymore.
When a white fan streams my movie, you see me holding a brand tailor-made to their tastes. But when, say, black fans stream it, they'll see a delicious Vod Imperial Peach Cognac. It's pretty cool.
But I will say that even though I think that Homelander is probably the most terrible person in the entire show, he is interesting, and I always find myself coming back to this show because of Homelander. I want to see more of his story. I want to see why he is the way he is. And even though I'm pretty much desensitized and kind of like, the shock is over when Homelander kills somebody, I am kind of interested and a little bit worried every time he goes into a room with somebody, wondering if he's going to kill them. But even with that feeling, when it does eventually happen, it kind of is like, okay, we've been here, done that. It's not really shocking anymore. And that could just be me being desensitized with, everything in the world that is happening and that we see on our screens. It's kind of sad if you think about it. And don't get me started with the whole controversy that there is with the actress that plays Starlight in here and having her face apparently being changed, whether that be with cosmetic surgery or not. If that's the biggest controversy and the biggest talking point that this show has nowadays, then we got a problem. And I know that shows like this depend on the cliffhanger endings, but I feel like in this season particularly, we had a lot of loose ends that we didn't get any answers for. We just got more questions. And like I said, that isn't something new. Every series does that and have cliffhanger endings to get you invested into the 5th season. But I don't know, I feel like something about this season made me have a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth with the amount of questions that they left unanswered. But I still think that there is hope for the boys. It does look like that we are leaning more back into the stuff that we started off in the first 3 seasons, and that is to kill Homelander. To me, that was like a simple enough goal that it helped push our characters towards that goal. And then when we finally saw that in the 3rd season, and then the way that they ended it in the 3rd season, it just left you kind of deflated. And now that we're kind of going back to that, yeah, it's kind of a messy way for us to get back to that goal, to that main goal. But I am interested to see what's going to happen with that now because of with Butcher having tentacle powers. Yeah, the internet's going to have a field day with that. And what happened to all the rest of the boys at the end of the show with them being separated and being captured by different characters. So I'm really interested to see what's going on because it's not going to just be the whole like, hey, we're off to go kill the vice president and we're going to talk to her and she can blow up our heads, maybe not. And, we go back and, Frenchie's with this guy and then Yumiko is talking to some person from her past, but then they just abandoned it. Didn't even talk about it anymore. Just like, hey, remember her for her past? Yeah, and then that's it. They did a lot of that in this season. But overall, guys, that is my thoughts on season 4 of The Boys. And again, take it with a grain of salt because this is coming from a guy that doesn't really enjoy the series, yet I keep on watching it. I hope I kind of explained why I still do it. Maybe it's just your conclusion is I'm a masochist. That's probably what happened. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you like this season? Did you hate this season? I know that there is quite a few of you that still enjoy the series. Let me know what you like about it most in the comments down below. Be truthful. Tell me what you like about it. You might reveal yourself to be a psychopath because you like all this gore and the senseless killing. But this is a safe space. But as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for all the support that you've been giving me these last couple of months. And remember, guys, keep watching.